It is a place of absolute silence, an ocean of yellow and orange that stretches wider than the entire United States of America. Temperatures here soar to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt the rubber soles of your boots. The locals call it Tenerife. The rest of the world calls it the Sahara. To the modern eye, it looks like a wasteland, a graveyard where nothing survives. But appearances are deceiving if you know where to look. The sand tells a different story. You see, the Sahara is not just a desert. It is a vault. And locked inside that vault are secrets that challenge everything we know about history. From whale skeletons resting on sand dunes to ancient star maps older than Stonehenge, and perhaps even the lost city of Atlantis itself. Today, on Antiquities Veil, we are going to drain the sand. We are going to turn back the clock 5,000 years to reveal the lush paradise that once existed here and uncover the terrifying mysteries that are still waiting to be found. To understand the mystery, we must first break the illusion of the eternal desert. The Sahara hasn't always been dead. In fact, if you could travel back in time just 5,000 years, a mere blink of an eye, in geological terms, you wouldn't need a camel, you would need a canoe. Scientists call this era the African humid period. Due to a slight wobble in the Earth's axis, the now tropical monsoon rains shifted north. The scorched dunes were covered in lush green savannas. Imagine a landscape that looks like the Serengeti. Massive rivers, miles wide, carved through the rock. The largest of these water bodies was Lake Megachad. Today, Lake Chad is a shrinking puddle, but back then, it was an inland sea larger than the Caspian Sea, covering over 130,000 square miles. We know this isn't just a theory. The evidence is painted on the rocks. Deep in the Algerian desert, in a place called Tassili Ajer, there are thousands of ancient cave paintings. They are a diary of a lost world. They don't show sandstorms, they show elephants, they show hippos, they show giraffes and herds of cattle grazing on tall grass. But the most haunting image is found in the Cave of Swimmers. Here, thousands of miles from the nearest ocean, ancient artists painted human figures diving and floating in deep blue water. These people weren't surviving, they were thriving in a water world that has completely evaporated. But if we dig deeper, past the time of humans, back to the Eocene era, the Sahara becomes even more unrecognizable. It wasn't just wet, it was an ocean. In the western desert of Egypt, about 100 miles southwest of Cairo, lies a place that defies logic. It is called Wadi al-Hitan, the Valley of the Whales. Walking here feels like walking on another planet. Scattered across the baking hot sand are the bleached white bones of massive sea monsters. These are the skeletons of Basilosaurus and Dorodon. These weren't like modern whales. Basilosaurus was a 50-foot long, serpent-like predator. And terrifyingly, it had legs, small hind legs that prove whales once walked on land before returning to the sea. They swam here 37 million years ago. When the Tethys Sea receded, they were trapped, dying in the mud that would eventually become the driest sand on Earth. Today, they lie perfectly preserved, an open-air museum of death. The desert doesn't just preserve bones, it swallows armies. One of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the ancient world is the disappearance of the lost army of Cambyses. The year was 524 BC, the Persian king. Cambyses II had conquered Egypt. But the priests at the oracle of Siwa refused to bow to him. Enraged, Cambyses sent an army of 50,000 elite soldiers to march across the western desert and destroy the oracle. 50,000 men, weapons, horses, supplies. They marched into the dunes and vanished. The Greek historian Herodotus wrote that while the army was resting, a violent south wind arose. A sandstorm of apocalyptic proportions buried them while they were eating their midday meal. Not a single soldier survived. Not a single messenger returned. For 2,500 years, explorers have searched for this ghost army. In 2009, Italian archaeologists claimed to find bronze weapons and human bones near the Siwa oasis, but the desert shifts constantly, somewhere under 300 feet. Shifting sand, 50,000 skeletons are still standing in formation, waiting to be found. When we think of ancient astronomy, we think of Stonehenge in England, but the people of the Green Sahara beat them to it by 2,000 years. Deep in southern Egypt, there's a site called Nabta Playa. Here, emerging from the sand, are strange circles of standing stones. For decades, they were ignored as random rocks. But when astronomers analyzed their alignment, they were shocked. These stones are a calendar. They track the summer solstice and the arrival of the monsoon rains, but they also track the movement of the stars, specifically the belt of Orion. The complexity of Nabta Playa proves that the people who lived here were not simple savages. They were sophisticated engineers and astronomers. Some historians believe that as the desert began to dry up, these people migrated north to the Nile Valley and became the founders of ancient Egypt. The pyramids, in a way, might be the children of the Sahara. As the climate shifted and the Green Sahara began to die, around 3000 BC, most humans fled. But one civilization stayed. They were the Garamantes. For centuries, Roman historians dismissed them as barbaric nomads. But modern satellites have revealed the stunning truth. The Garamantes built a massive, advanced empire right in the middle of the drying wasteland. How did they survive without rain? They were masters of underground engineering. They used slave labor to dig thousands of miles of underground tunnels called foguera. These tunnels tapped into ancient fossil water reservoirs deep beneath the rock water. Left over from the Green Sahara days, they built stone fortresses and cultivated crops in the middle of hell. But their success was their downfall. Eventually, the fossil water ran out. The tunnels went dry, and the desert reclaimed their cities. Today, their fortresses look like natural rocks, crumbling back into the dust. And finally, we come to the most controversial mystery of all, the Richat structure. The Eye of Africa. Located in Mauritania, this is a geological formation so massive, 25 miles wide, that you cannot see it from the ground. You can only see it from space. Early astronauts used it as a landmark. Mainstream geology says it is a deeply eroded volcanic dome. But look closer. It is a perfect circle. Inside, there are concentric rings of raised land and deep valleys. Now let's open the dialogues of Plato, the Greek philosopher who first wrote about Atlantis. Plato described Atlantis not as an island in the ocean, but as a city of concentric rings of water and land. He said it was surrounded by mountains to the north and opened to the sea in the south. Look at the Richat structure. It has mountains to the north. It opens to the south. The measurements Plato gave matched the width of the eye almost perfectly. And here is the smoking gun. The sand around the eye is filled with salt, the kind of salt found in the ocean. Is it possible that Atlantis wasn't a continent, but a city in the Green Sahara that was destroyed when the water receded? Or is it just a coincidence? The desert refuses to answer. The Sahara is not static. It is a living, breathing beast that operates on a 20,000-year cycle. Science tells us that in about 15,000 years, the Earth will wobble again. The monsoons will return, the dunes will turn to grass, and the Sahara will be green once more. But until then, the sand keeps its secrets. From the whale, bones of the ancient ocean to the ghost army of Cambyses, and the lost rings of Atlantis. The desert reminds us that nothing is permanent. Civilizations rise, and civilizations fall. And in the end, the sand buries us all. This is Antiquities Veil. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, please like and subscribe, and tell us in the comments, what do you think is hiding under the sand?